Crypto, I have a question. I have a question for you.
What do you want to know? What do you want to know, boss?
Do you like, so, for say like Easter comes around, right? Easter comes around, right? Do you have a fun time with the Easter Bunny when he shows up?
I mean, sometimes I'll grab his tail and he'll like growl at me and stuff, so I don't really know what that means, but
Yo, welcome to PR. yo.
Okay.
What's going on?
It is currently 1:15 in the morning, and we are beginning a long recording session. So bear with us. We're caffeinated here for mid-season power rankings. We've never done mid-season power rankings before, so hey yo.
Is that you with the Easter Bunny, bro?
Don't try gargling super coffee. It's not a good idea, especially the caramel latte kind. God damn, that's
true,
thick.
Especially not the caramel latte kind.
Nope. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, we've never done mid-season power rankings. We usually only do like post-draft, so this one's going to be probably a little all over the place. But stick with us because we got good stuff to say. Of course, I'm joined by the fellow Cyruses. We got your boy Bash. Say what's up to the people.
Hey yo, what's up?
And of course, we got the coffee gargler himself, that boy Crypto.
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Putting in the community service hours,
Yeah.
And we're gonna go ahead and rank these teams, I guess. We are basing this on weeks 1 through 5. So like currently some of the week 6 games have been done. We're trying not to factor that in because not everybody's gotten their week 6 games in yet. So weeks 1 through 5.
Yup. Man, we excited, boys. We excited.
Yep.
Right.
And as always, we each created 3 separate lists and we averaged them out, determine who lands where. We also did not rank ourselves, but we did rank each other. So averages still work out. So anything I'm forgetting, guys?
I think so. You covered it pretty good there, Bubba.
We take into account hacks as well. So if you have any complaints, we could always talk about hacks. We talk about hacks throughout these power rankings.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing, right? Like we always preface this by saying, because we always do like post-draft rankings, and so we always go like, it's not based on the player, it's just the team. But this time it's very personal. It is based on the player this time. So if you're in last, you
probably should be offended this time.
Step it up.
Yeah. Okay, well, if that's the case, then let's start off with number 16, Crypto, right? So Crypto.
No. You wanna introduce number 16, Bash? Want to kick it off?
Yeah. We got our homie Yehoodles here, the Cleveland Clan Pearls. 0-6 minus 17. It's been a tough season for him.
Wait. 0-5. Let's keep it there. I should just keep the record at 0-5 for now.
Oh shoot! My bad.
Yeah, actually, in my notes, I have all the standings based on like the whatever. We're not factoring that into the ranking, but that is the current record. So whatever, deal with it. I'm not gonna go back and calculate where things were last week.
Yeah.
Break the fourth wall. Yes.
Yeah.
I guess we could recap teams too. Some people have made transactions since then, so
True.
Yehoodles has a team of Hisui and Arcanine, Zeraora, Rillaboom, Mega Charizard X, Quaquaval, Hisui and Gudra, Hoopa, Gardevoir, Skuntank, Golurk, and Cyclizar, with the Terra users being Zeraora Flying and Hoopa as the free Terra user. You want to go first, Bash? You got it.
Yeah. So, to be honest, I had this ranked earlier, like pretty low with the PRs, to be honest, or the original PRs. But one of the things I want to point out is like I feel like Hoopa could be used a lot. Like the Hoopa sets are interesting, but I feel like you haven't like used it as a breaker as much as you could have, I guess, because like one of the sets you ran like was like sub-toxic Hoopa with like Terra Steel, whatever. And I don't know, but there's like been some weeks that you got like kind of like hacked a little bit as well that I remember. But like I also know little inside information that you do prep pretty quickly sometimes with for these matches, so that also could be playing a role into this. But overall, not a great season for you, bud. Sorry, bud. Yeah, I hope it turns around, because you still have a chance of making playoffs even at all the way down in here.
That's true.
But it's gonna have to turn around. Sorry.
I wanted to add to your Hoopa point, because I want to give him credit on this. He did Oko a 100% mill tank with Shadow Ball.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
I did not expect that to fall over like that, and I looked at the calc. I think it did like 113 minimum, and I was like, mill tank sucks.
Yep.
And then my only other thing was like, are we gonna like put the like post draft power rankings and then show the rankings they have now, so we can put like a plus or like a minus next to it? Like, you know what I mean?
And you're really putting me on the spot with extra editing. Okay. You're talking about like relative to where they were last time? Like, oh, you dropped like 2 spots since the last rankings or something like that?
Yeah.
I was thinking about doing something like that.
I was just curious.
You're always keeping.
We'll see when the video comes out, but no, I was thinking about that too.
Always got to keep Sketch on his toes,
Yes.
Exactly. But no, I want to give Yoodle some quick credits, because I know earlier in the season he had some close matches against Lamaza, for example. He played him a really good game. 1-0, I believe, was the outcome. And that really came down to the wire for sure. I think Lamaza ended up winning it with a Terra transition at the end or something like that, which helped him out. But then other than that, like, I know he kind of maybe got hacks out of a game against Jimmy. Where Zeror actually had a really good shot to win that one. So he had a little bit of misfortune for sure, but it's kind of just been a downward spiral after that a little bit. So
I think Hoodles has some of the most creative prep in the league. I feel like he has a lot of stuff that catches people off guard. It's really just one of those things where, like, I don't think that I could place him higher than 16th until there's a win on the board. And up to this point, I believe he's the only team without a win to his name yet. And I could see that turning around. I feel like Hoodles has the mind and like the prepping of some of the best in the league, but it all comes down to the execution. I don't even think, like, no disrespect, but I don't think Hoodles is surprised. I think, 'cause he's that dude. He knows. But I definitely think he can step it up.
We all know he's a better player than we also know that he's a better player than he's been showing too this season.
Yeah, really, he just decided to go easy on us. I think that's.
I appreciate it.
You appreciate,
But at the same time, it could be the craziest turnaround. Imagine this video comes out and sees 16th on the power rankings, and then the next video comes out for like the last power rankings or whatever, and you catch him in playoffs, and it's like, oh shit, this man's really on his revenge tour. You never know.
Would be pretty crazy, but yeah, I mean, it's doable.
Yeah, honestly though, I also want to add, I think he should have probably beat Crypto too. That should have been he should have had a win there too, but I don't know. I don't know.
That's why we have that replay hidden away for a reason. We don't show that.
Well, unless there's anything more to say, I think we can move to 15th. I feel we're gonna go a little bit quicker this time around too than we did in the post-draft PRs, because it's not as much to cover this time around. But
XX.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was good.
Cool. In 15th place we have yes and yes. We have yes.
What was that again? Sorry, Sketch.
Can you announce the coach already? Quit saying yes.
Yes.
Yes, you will, or
yes.
Okay.
Coach of the Chicago Beartics. We have the newcomer, yes, which was probably the weirdest team to rank, at least for me personally, because he hasn't played any games yet. He's taking over a new team that was previously coached by Fist Tier Doom. And so really all we could do was just rank based on what Fist had accomplished. And this is kind of just like a blank slate for yes at this point. We all unanimously had yes at 13th on our rankings. And yeah, I really don't know what to say here. I guess it is worth noting, like, I probably have like the old team on the screen right now, but like he did completely restructure the team heading into week 6. Or I think technically it's valid week 7.
Week 7, yeah.
So I mean, I think that there's potential like, for this team to really increase a lot, just because it's a completely restructured team. And I think that the changes that were made help balance out the roster a lot. I won't go super in depth with my thoughts there, but I think with a new coach and a new team, there's definitely room for this team to improve beyond where it is. It's just kind of hard to put it much higher right now. There's only one win, and there's like a new coach is kind of like unproven at this point,
Exactly. I just want to say I don't have too much to add to this, but I am pretty disappointed in Yes because he did drop my ball stiff. But
wait, what was that? Sorry, what was?
Whoa!
Your
balls are what?
My balls are a little stiff, but he did drop a dog. By the way, he did actually drop a dog, bro, and that one kind of hurt my feelings a little bit because my ball stiff kind of like made my balls go stiff whenever I played fist. So I mean, that's all I gotta say to that.
So my balls are a little stiff, but I also noticed that he dropped Mabo stiff.
I don't know what you're talking about, but okay. But yeah, no, Yes is a fellow friend of Jimmy's, and Jimmy is quite literally one of the goats of the community, and Jimmy's been one of my friends for a long time. So I'm excited to see what Yes has to bring to the community, and he definitely restructured the team in a good way. So I'm excited for it. He's still got a few games to really show what they can do, and they could still make a push for playoffs because I think they're 1-4. You said right now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, plenty of time for sure. So we'll see what Yes can do.
Oh, I wasn't agreeing. I was just saying the coach's name.
Oh shit.
But yeah, he is 1-4 though. That time I'm answering your question. Yeah,
Yes. Okay. So yeah. His team. I'm gonna talk a little bit about his new team a little bit because it's hard to talk about Yes's team beforehand because there's like Fist's team, right? But his new team is a lot more interesting. He's got a Volcarona with Terror Captain Water, which is probably going to be a menace to be honest to deal with.
Yeah.
That's going to be so difficult to take down. And then of course he picked up Celestial, which has been free all this season, and he picked that up, placing Melmetal, which is pretty clutch. And he's got some crazy breakers, and it's going to be, I think, all in all, into Wish Passion to Celestial is going to be annoying to deal with. So I'm glad I do not face him the rest of the season. So yeah, I'm excited to see what Yes has to bring. I've heard good things about Yes, and yeah, it's not accurate. I'm going to be honest, it's not an accurate depiction of probably how you are. Where you are in the rankings right now, just because we don't know too much. You haven't played a game yet this season, so yeah. But good luck to you this season.
Yeah, definitely don't take this ranking personally. It's obviously because we just don't know anything about you for this season yet. But we're all excited to have you here in the league. A big welcome to Krash. I will say too, on the topic of like the new transactions, I actually previously was like looking ahead at future matchups, and I thought that Fist team was like one of my easier matchups, and I feel like based on the changes it got a lot more complicated. So I think that's a sign of a really strong draft. I think that those are all pretty clever and intelligent moves that you made on that end. So again, welcome to Krash. I'm excited to see what you're able to pull off in the second half of the season.
Thanks.
Yep. Cool. Crypto, you wanna take number 14, my dude?
Yeah, I'll go over this loser real quick. Let's see here. Who's 14?
Whoa. Who's like, wait, who's 14?
Oh shit. Yeah, he is kind of a loser. Okay. So next we got VM Nunez at 14th. Actually, how do you pronounce your name? Is it VM Nunez or Vimnoons? I don't really know, but anyways, got Vimnoons here at 14. Vimnoons is not a loser, by the way. Vimnoons is a pretty cool guy, and I probably should open up his team. Sorry, I'll sit prepared.
No, that's fine. While you do that, I will say to you, this was the first case of like a tie in the average rankings. And just as a reminder, the way that we handle tiebreakers is whoever got the higher individual score, like whoever ranked higher on one of our individual lists, gets a little bit higher. And so it was unanimous 13 across the board for yes, but VM Nunes did peak at 11th place on one of our lists. And again, as a reminder too, we will show all three of the individual lists at the end of the video. So stay tuned for that.
If you have any questions for our rankings and ratings, whatever, please refer to Splurge and DM him real quick and ask him about the rankings and ratings, because that's where we're going to send all our questions about these PRs.
Yeah, feel free to add him in the server too if you have any questions.
The more you add him, the more you add him to, the faster he'll respond to you. So just to keep that in mind. Right?
Yeah. And honestly, if you want to tell him your balls are stiff while you're at it, I'd just do it anyways.
Yeah.
Crypto, do you have the team pulled up?
I do now. VM Nunes has got the team consistent. He didn't make any changes yet so far. So he's got the Mega Gallade, Tornadus Therian, Weavile, Clefable, Ursaluna, Terra, Fairy Heatran, Delmise, Terra All, Lantern, Spiritomb, Lapras, and then Hisuian Zora. And just remembering some of his matches so far, I know that he's used Mega Gallade pretty decently so far as like a really good revenge killer, and just overall I think it's like top 10 on the kill leaderboard right now. Which is good. And then overall it's been an interesting experience so far, because Nunes is 1-4 right now if I remember correctly. So he's lost a lot of close games, I'm pretty sure, just because his team's so offensive, and like there's been a lot of back and forth just trade-offs. Like he's not getting destroyed in any of his games, but he's also except for one game I think.
It was, I got some things to talk about that game too. By the way,
but yeah, go for it, Bash. Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting, right? So after the draft, VM Nunes, correct me after the video, or actually, send it to Splurge first, then let me know how to pronounce your name correctly. But so after the draft, you mentioned that some of the reasoning behind some of your picks, right? And one of them was Heatran, which was Terra Fairy, which is supposed to be your check to Chi-Yu, right? And I believe Lantern and Lapras were supposed to be your answers to Dracovish, right? And so I had a lot of hopes for you for against A12, and I don't think it went well. Yeah, it didn't go well. So I'm, but I do know that your other games went really have been close. I know the game against OG Albina came down to a pretty close game, even though it was a 2-0, but it could have easily gone the other way, I think, if I remember correctly. But I want to say I know it's a 1-point mon, but I feel like you could definitely replace Hisuian Zora as on this team. There's a lot more better 1-point mons that you could throw onto the team that fills in a better role, to be honest. Even getting another hazard setter at a 1 point would be really nice, or a removal. But I feel like your team is good. It's just some parts are it's just not there's some things going wrong in the matches, either with maybe a 50-50 going wrong or something like that. Other than A12s, besides the point. This some of these games could have been easily flipped around. Also looking at some of the Terras, I think Delmise is an underrated Terra, and I hope that you end up using it a lot more with in the future with Trick Room maybe shenanigans, which would be really cool because they offensively could break teams with Terra. So but yeah, I just wanted to point out the fact that the game against A12, I don't know. You have time. You have 4 free agents, so I'm hoping to see something with that, I guess. So yeah.
I didn't do as much digging into the details of how individual games played out, admittedly, but just looking at scores from games, VM Nunes is currently on a 3-game losing streak, and that losing streak got kicked off with the 6-0 that you mentioned from A12, and so there's it's a little shaky as to how things are looking for the season, and by no means are you out of contention for playoffs yet, but you're gonna have to sort of clutch up in order to make it. And my concern is that looking ahead at the back half of your season, 4 of your next 5 matches are against coaches that are in I think the top 6 of standings, So it's gonna be a pretty tough way to close out the season. By no means does that mean that it's like not doable, but like if I had to guess about like where you're gonna land by the end, based on what we've seen in the first half, I'm not the most confident, but I definitely don't think it's like impossible by any means. I think that there are definitely some clever ways to make use of the mons on your team. I think that you have a very threatening team for sure. Like a lot of really reliable Pokemon like Mega Gallade, Tornti, Heatran, like Clefable. Like these are all mons that are like very versatile for one, and just like very reliable in a lot of matchups. So by no means are you lacking a team to pull off that sort of comeback. But I don't know. I forget. You mentioned that he has transactions available, right, Pesh?
Yeah, he hasn't used a single FA yet.
Yeah, so I'm not saying that you necessarily need to like completely restructure your team or anything, but it might be worth looking to see if there's anything available, like any small changes you can make to end up with a team that maybe you feel more comfortable with or something along those lines.
Yeah.
But I think it's pretty solid looking squad, but just maybe some changes that could help you with like, especially changes that could help you with like upcoming matchups. Like, I'm not one to advocate for counter teaming, but I guess given the circumstances, that might be your best bet.
Yeah.
I will also say that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Crypto. Go ahead.
I just got one thing to add, because like you were talking about the 8-12 thing, how like he like. Well, first off, like that was a rough game, but like it was kind of funny.
Yeah.
Like, counter teamed a few of 8-12's ones, and he also tried to counter team a Regieleki, and he doesn't even play me this season, so I feel kind of bad. His counter teaming thing didn't work out too good.
Yeah, that's fair. But I will say also to that point that he also got Lapras also to counter Ilkid. He already played, I believe, and he lost that one too. But I also want to say I'm really excited a little bit. I hope that you get like a little bit more versatile with Ursaluna, because that Mon can straight up be a menace. It's so tanky too. It can be so tanky. It can run like bulk up sets too. I'm really excited to see that. I'm hoping like it changes, like you bring a lot more creative, like more versatile sets with Ursaluna, because I think that Mon could also like make a huge difference in your team right now, and sort of like breaking for like things like for easy sweeps with like to make it easier for Weavile and like Tornti and Mega Glade to put in the work at the end, towards the end game, and open it up for them, or verse wise too. So yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. There's nothing else to add, and we'll go ahead and move on to 13th place. And we have Ilkid, coach of the Mizu. I never know if I'm saying that right, but the Mizu Raikou.
I don't know, yeah.
Wait, is that spelled wrong?
That's the Lizzo Raikou's right there.
Lizzo Raikou's, yo.
Okay, nobody is going to pee during these rankings. We're all here.
You said that last time, Sketch. I don't know. I don't know, Sketch.
I mean specifically during Ilkid's section. We're not gonna.
I'm on my laptop this time. There's no way I'm carrying my whole laptop into the bathroom.
I don't know, Crypto. You've been drinking a lot of coffee, right? You might.
So Ilkid has a team consisting of Iron Bundle, Great Tusk, Jirachi, Mandibuzz, Raikou, Ansi, Cerulege, Venomoth, Mega Sceptile, and Audino. Honestly, I don't think that this team is doing too bad. It's 2-3 up to this point, and I think that's fine. Like, it's not terrible. It's not great, of course, but you know, there's a couple wins on the board, and I think that it is a pretty solid and versatile team here. I think Ilkid has just been struggling to pick up the win in some of like the late game scenarios. But I will say, Ilkid mentioned to me that he's planning on maybe making some transactions, and so I can see like the potential for maybe just like polishing up things, or like be rearranging some mons that he's less comfortable with to like close out the season is a possibility moving forward. But I think this is just one of those things where it's kind of hard to justify placing teams higher or lower than like around where they're landing in the standings, and I think 13th is exactly where Ilkid is, and it's kind of like, until I can see maybe just some more wins, it's kind of hard to like place it much higher than that. But what do you guys think?
I was just gonna point out that I don't think it's like necessarily like a team issue, just because like I remember in the post draft PRs we didn't all rank him 1, but he was 1 overall. So obviously clearly it's a good team. But like I feel like kind of like you were saying, maybe a few issues closing out games because he's had a lot of close games, but there's been scenarios where maybe there's not a dedicated win con and not really like a surefire way to like pull out the win necessarily. So. And I don't think that's necessarily like he's got the things to do it. Like he could, pull off things with Surledge, Venomoth, Mega Sceptile is just fast enough to do it itself. Same for Iron Bundle. Just depends on matchup and maybe just a little bit stronger prep. Maybe would be like the only thing I could say. Like I'm not trying to like specifically call that out, but that could be where.
Damn.
Not the team's fault. It's your fault. No, no just kidding. But no, he's actually not doing too bad though, because 2 and 3 is easily capable of turning things around, and popping into a playoff contention spot. He's just got to get going. And the last thing I was going to kind of look over is maybe the remaining schedule, because as we get in like a little bit higher in the power rankings, it's very interesting to note. Like
you said 2 and 3. You said 2 and 3.
2 and 4 actually.
He's technically 1 and 4. 1 and 4. 1 and 4.
Oh, whoops! Yeah, 1 and 4.
Oh, okay.
Wow, Crypto, wow.
That's my fault. Breaking the fourth wall. Well, anyways, yeah, he's got like the end of his schedule's not too bad, I would say. Yeah, he's not playing any. He's playing 1 playoff coach at the current moment in the rest of his schedule, so he's got a really good shot to come back. Which is not bad. So when we say playoff coach, by the way, we just referring to like right now, like on the standings right now, like who are in the playoff position, not like who we think is going to be like in the playoffs. I guess.
Yeah, we have not rigged it and decided already who's going to be in playoffs.
Not like all those other seasons.
We stopped doing that in season 7.
Or Crypto's championship, right? What?
Yo, keep that on the low, bro.
Sorry.
I honestly would like to see you bring Terra Venomoth more, or like, to be honest, because I think I've only seen it like in 1 game. Maybe I could be wrong though. But that thing is terrifying with Tinted Lens, Quick Advance, and Sleep Powder. Like, I think it could sweep teams on its own easily. I would love to see that more often, because I don't think Iron Bundle even needs the Terra a lot of times. I think Venomoth would really appreciate it. And I think you have the full capacity to be able to pull it off too. I just maybe bring the right set, or like making some of the right plays with it. I don't know. Making those 50-50 plays or something like that with it would be great. Or I don't know. I would just love to see you bring Venomoth a lot more, because that thing, I think every coach has like had to prep for it at least a bit, because that thing could literally be a menace to everybody. Yeah, I would. Yeah. And I also would like to see. I think Surledge is like one of the most scariest mons on your team, which is crazy to say when you hit an Iron Bundle and a Great Tusk. Just in general, because that thing literally could just sweep teams on its own, and it's so annoying to deal with the Bitter Blade SD weak armor set. But I don't know. I hope to see these more like I guess like setup threats with these two. Because at the moment I feel like you've got into this more role of like a kind of a little bit more not stale, but like I want to say more of a defensive role, I guess, in games. But yeah, so.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I feel like it's been sort of like on the back foot in a lot of matches this season. I would definitely just see him take a little bit more advantage of like just the insane setup potential that mons like Surledge and Venomoth have. And maybe as you approach transactions, I don't know what's available, but it might be worth investing in something with like really strong priority. Because right now, I think your go-to is like Shadow Sneak Surledge, which isn't a bad option at all, but I do think that having to run Shadow Sneak for priority is limiting your ability to set up with that mon. I mean, I guess like Sword Stand Shadow Sneak is definitely like a viable set, but I definitely know like when I faced you in week 1, I ran like the Lychee Berry Indoor Sneasler specifically because I didn't think that you were going to be able to fit priority on the team. I forget, does Iron Bundle get Ice Shard?
No.
Nope.
Okay, yeah. And I think the reason why priority is so important too, I guess I didn't fully explain this thought, but with mons like Iron Bundle and Mega Sceptile being so fast, your team forces a lot of Choice Scarf users and a lot of like setup mons, specifically mons that want to set up with speed. And so because you're getting like put into these like defensive positions, it would be really nice to have something that can like threaten out something that's set up and just like help you regain your positioning within the match. But yeah, those are my thoughts. I don't know if there's anything else you guys want to say.
I was just gonna give him a shout out real quick on having Surledge in the top 10 in the kill leaderboard right at the moment, so he is using it fairly well, to be honest. Which is a good thing.
Yeah, Amon is so cool, man. Favorite.
It is.
It really is.
I love that one.
It is clean. Yeah.
You don't like Excalibur?
I like Excalibur, but Surledge is my favorite Gen 9 mon.
Okay.
Question of the day: what is Sketch's favorite Gen 9 mon?
If you get it wrong, I'd be very disappointed. I just told you, but yeah, leave your guesses in the comment section.
We'll see if you're actually listening to the video.
Yeah, this will be on the test, so make sure you're taking notes. Cool.
Of course.
So, I guess we're good to move to 12th place.
Please.
We got Helix of the St. Louis Shroomish. Break it down for the people, Krash. It's all you, man. It's all you.
Okay. I guess we'll go over the teams. So he made some transactions with at least for the Terra type, he did a transaction, I know for a fact, because Dragonite originally was Steel, but I'm so glad that you made it normal, because Terra normal Dragonite is literally a menace. It is so terrifying to prep for. Honestly, all you need is Dragonite's extreme speeds, Earthquake, and Roost. Most matches with that set, but it has a lot more it can even do other than that too. But yeah, Dragonite, Terra normal, get terrifying. And then you got Mega Diancie, Meowscarada, Corviknight, Skeledirge, which I hate playing against Skeledirge. Anytime I play against Skeledirge, I hate playing against it because it's so annoying to prep for. And then Sandy Shocks, Uxie, Licky, Polian, and Toxicroak with the Terra. Some of the things I would like to know. I've been watching some of your matches, and I really think it's kind of cool, the way you've been using Terra Toxicroak. You've actually been using it pretty well, to be honest. Surprisingly, I didn't expect a lot from Toxicroak, but you've been using it pretty well. And then another thing is I think I'm hoping with the Terra transaction for Dragonite, that thing is going to become even more of a menace and probably run through teams. I think some of the things with some of your teams, I think a lot of those games with Skeledirge that you get too weakened too early in the game, especially since it's able to wall a lot. You bringing in on mods that you probably shouldn't have, I guess, is what I'm saying. Because Skeledirge can wall a lot of Pokemon, but there's some that it can't, or takes half, or maybe it's not as it's supposed to be the check for. I think you take that damage, and it kind of causes issues later on in the game when you don't have that defensive check like Skeledirge in the back to answer some things and to stop the setup as well. But I think you've been playing well this season. Especially, I think you've been turning it around. I think, if I remember correctly, you didn't. I think you had I think the last couple of games you've been playing pretty well, if I remember correctly. You turned it around. You had the win week 1, but and just to mention his record right now is 2-3. By the way, just for the video. But yeah, I think you've been doing pretty. I think you've been turning around. You've been playing a lot better lately. And I think the Terra transaction will helped a lot, and your team's really going to prep for with the defensive core. So good luck to you for the rest of the season. I can't wait to also see more of Terra Toxicroak and how much of a menace it will be. But yeah, good luck for the rest of the season. I'm excited to see how you do with the Terra Dragonite and Terra Toxicroak.
Dude, yeah, dude, no kidding, this team looks scary. I was happy I dodged this one on the schedule, just because he's got some of my least favorite monsters to prep against. You mentioned Skeledirge is not fun. I'd honestly hate playing against Dragonite too. And then finally switching to Mega Diancie is never fun, and it's not like you can just obviously out offensive it because it has a freaking crazy speed tier. So it's just a very annoying team to play against. And I just want to give him a shout out too on his Meowscarada, because I believe there was one game where it came back from like a 1v3, which was pretty impressive. Against Hoodles, he pulled off some kind of 1v3. Where it had like Power Gym against like a Charizard or something, which really helped him out. So he's used some really cool sets there, and I know he's used like hazard setting Meowscarada and a few different options. The one thing I would kind of think with this team is kind of what you guys were pointing out with Ilkid's team, is I feel like he's playing on the back foot a little bit. Maybe he could use his like slower pivot mons a little bit more aggressively, I would say, just to get in his offensive threats. Things like Corviknight and Uxie, try not to like lose too much momentum with them. Just because when you bring in Mega Diancie and Dragonite on turns that your opponent has to like switch around, then you're going to cause some havoc with that. And I think he's very close to having like a breakthrough where he could easily make a playoff push with this team for sure.
Yeah, I would agree. I am a big fan of Helix's team. I think it has some really strong cores. I love the starter Fire, Water, Grass core, and I think that they support each other really well, and it's a nice balance of bulk with Empoleon and Saladurge, and then Meowscarada just carrying that offensive presence and just helping keep up the momentum with U-turning around. And like you said, like the slow U-turners. I forget where I placed this in the post-draft PRs, but I'm sure it was like pretty high because I really like the way that this team gels together. I'll keep my analysis here pretty short because I feel like you guys covered most of my points. I think what this boils down to for me, like why I have it a little on the lower end, is that while there are 2 wins here, those wins were against Yahoodles and VM Nunes, who were like the bottom 2 teams on my ranking, and 2 teams that are in the bottom 3 on our overall rankings. And so I just feel like there's a lot of potential for this team, but it remains unproven, I think. Like Crypto said, I think that there's a lot of potential for this team to make a push to get into like a good place to make playoffs, but I just need to see like a little bit more before I'm convinced to put it any higher than here for now. But I'm excited, like Bash said, to see what you're able to do with the rest of the team, especially now with that Terra Normal Dragonite. I agree. I mean, I think Terra Steel on Dragonite is also very good, but I think Terra Normal is maybe just a little bit more necessary right now, giving you like that really good cleaner with like extreme speed.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think this will be a really, really cool team. So
especially since he's got so many different like spike and hazard setters, like having that cleaning Dragonite set is just that just doesn't sound fun.
yeah, because there's like 3 spikes users, right? So,
yeah.
Or
is it 3 or 2?
I think it's 3, right? Diancie, Meowscarada, and Sandy Shocks.
Oh, Diancie gets spikes now?
It sure does.
Yeah,
it does. Broken, dude. That one is broken, yeah.
Okay. Well, in that case, this number 1 team on my list. I didn't realize Diancie got spikes.
Dude, number 1 for sure. No, best of luck though as we close out the season, Helix. I think that you have the team to definitely turn things around here.
Cool. Thanks.
Cool. Looking at number 11, we have Bloodcrawler and the Leuven Larvitars. Bloodcrawler was like, he had one of those drafts that everybody looked at during the draft and was like, I definitely do not want to face that team. I guess to recap, his team is Golden Go, Tinglu, Enamorus, Glamora, Starmie, Megalopony, Kilowattrel, Appletun, Electros, Revavroom, and Centiskorch. I think still, I'm pretty sure I don't have Bloodcrawler on my schedule, and I'm still glad about that because just like the synergy of like hazard control there is like really, really weird to play around. It's just not something I ever feel like dealing with. But I feel like in theory this team works really well, but in practice it's struggled a little bit. He does have 2 wins on the board though, so it's not like it's like unable to pick up wins or anything like that. I just feel like something's missing here. Like I can't fully place it. I guess let me hear what you guys think before I make my final decision here.
I have some thoughts on it, so if you're okay with me taking going first, Crypto.
Yeah, go for it. That's something to add, but go for it.
Okay, so other than week 1, by the way, which was like only a 3-0, every single game that Blood has played has been 1-0 or 2-0. So every game has come down to really close games. So I think it's something to maybe try to work. I guess like it's really been, that means like when it comes down to 1 and 2-0, usually there's a lot of 50-50s, basically, which is determining kind of the outcome of the game when it's that close, typically. And that, I think you should be focusing on like trying to maybe even like not like first off, like getting the 50-50s right, maybe on the games that you lost, but those are obviously 50-50, could go either way. But
Just
one of the things
right.
I will say, just get them right, yeah, just get them right, so it's not 50. But what I really want to say is that I think what you should try to do is focus on, like, in the prep at least per way, or in the match, trying to get into a way where you're not forced to get into this 50-50, because I don't know, no offense to a lot of draft league players, but I don't know if they want to be down to that 50-50 chance in the begin with, because it is oh my god, it is nail biting when that happens. But like, I think your team can perform really well. I think like things like Rev Room could be like a really good sweeper for your team, and or like Hazard Stack with Megalopony is just terrifying. So I think you could get those games where it's not coming down to those 50-50s. It's just making sure you handle the right win con. In certain situations, you do a good job of that, but I think there's some games you could have done a little bit better job of seeing like the win con at the end of the game, and maybe pulling out that win when you could have when otherwise you might have lost it. So, but I hated playing this team. I played against it week 1. Hated prepping for it. Hated playing against it, but I survived. And anybody who else was playing for this, have fun.
This week.
Something I do want to point out too is after our first PRs, Bloodcrawler made a couple transactions that I think were really good for his team, picking up Electros and Scorch, both of which get knockoff, and that was something you pointed out before, that his team was just going to force people to run heavy duty boots, and he had no way of getting rid of them previously. So I think that those are 2 really solid additions to his team.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I think the solution to this team, like, this sounds kind of like a dick thing to say, but I feel like it's super simple. Like, literally just, I think he needs to play his outings to Megalopony a little bit stronger, because I think I've seen a lot of Scarfed and Amorous and stuff. I would suggest just bringing, like, Breaking and Amorous, Breaking Golden Go, like, all the time, and literally just set up your win con for Megalopony, because this is literally the perfect build of a team for Lopunny. And there's probably been certain games where he's going in with his thought process being that, but maybe, I don't know, I would just focus a little bit harder on just going for Lopunny in games, because he's getting so close to winning these games anyways, like Bash was saying, like 1-0, 2-0s, and if he's going to really try to make a push for like one of those last few playoff spots, then he's probably going to win some 1-0, 2-0s. I don't think he's ever going to win any like 5-0, 6-0s just by the basis of his team, but probably just see a little bit more overall setup in Amorouses and maybe like some setup Golden Goes, just to open up the late game would be my main thing. And maybe I'm like completely like just being wrong about that, but I feel like I want to see a little bit more like setup around that, I guess, if that's something that hasn't been used as much, maybe, especially with an Amorous. But
also, I want to add one more thing. I think Retaliate, because I think Megalopony his entire season for normal coverage has run Retaliate, and it's a cool move to use, but sometimes it lacks the power, because like, what if you get like with like things like Electros, you're getting it in for free, and then you're just like just you could be clicking like things like Mega. So but yeah, sorry, yeah, your team's terrifying to play against. I really like the transactions. They help the team a lot better, with a lot more with the being able to take advantage of Hazard Stack, which I'm really looking forward to seeing. So, yeah.
Mega kick, nice move. Really love it. All right, we'll move on.
All right. You good, Bash? Need a second?
I'm good. Sketchy, do you want to take this next one though?
Yo.
Yeah, sure. We got 10th place. That is OG Albina, coach of the Carolina Roaring Moon. Let me pull up the team.
It's your boy OG Albina. How's the Overwatch grind going, my boy?
Overwatch, who do you mean? Leave your predictions in the comment section below. Okay, there we go. Carolina Roaring Moon. That's a team of Dragapult, Greninja, Victini, Sylveon, Slitherwing, Blastoise, Thundurus, Dunsparce, Mega Steelix, and Tangela. I have faced this team, and I can tell you from experience that Terrifier Victini has like no switch-ins. That thing is toxic as hell. That thing is crazy. I see a lot of potential in the comeback for OG Albina in this season. I think I had him ranked a little bit higher than you guys. Just looking at like the remaining schedule, I think it was that made me determine that. I feel like OG Albina definitely has one of the stronger drafts. And I think that I don't know, dude. I think I'm just like stuck on this Victini thing, man. Like, I feel like there are just gonna be matchups for that mon where it just like claims to kill every single time it hits the field, and that's the kind of thing that I think OG Albina needs to like get back in this, especially when he's pairing that with things like spikes from like Greninja. And yeah, I don't know. I'm getting to a point where I feel like I don't have a ton to say. Like, the only reason why it's not ranked higher is because there's not like there are just teams that have more wins on the board at this point. Like, I don't think that OG Albina is doing bad at all. I think I just need to see a little bit more before I can place it higher. What do you guys think?
I also played this team, and I can confirm Terra Victini's not fun at all. Like, I thought I had a pretty good check with like Intimidate and Incineroar, but I think that lasted like maybe 8 turns into the game, which is pretty rough. Just because he's done a really good job so far. Like, his record's like not the best at the moment, but he's done a pretty good job of keeping up pressure with Victini, which is really good. It's just, I think I don't know, it may be similar to like we were talking about with Bloodcrawler, where he's maybe just not getting those in-game win cons like he can, but I think that, you know, Dragapult gives him a really strong cleaner. Same for like Thundurus, even Greninja, just how fast it is. And it's overall a really well-balanced team. I know we had it fairly high or decently high, I think, on the post-draft PRs, maybe like 7th or 8th or something, maybe 9th, I don't remember, but it was definitely a team around that range, and it's only dropped a little bit, just because like there's a lot of good teams, a lot of good coaches, and he's another one of those teams that's lurking around those final few playoff spots at the moment. So nonetheless, it's going to be a really close push with all these teams. And OG's been there before. Like, he's won a championship in the past. Like, so he could easily pull it off for sure. And he's got a good enough team to do it. And I do want to say he's used the Dunsparce really well so far. Like, when he's not tearing Victini and killing like 17 things, he's done really well with the Dunsparce, or at least regular to Dunsparce. I don't know how much he's teared it, but he's done pretty well with that thing overall, which is cool to see.
I think he brought Terra to Dunsparce against me, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm talking about like Terra Victini being a menace, and I don't even think I actually ended up facing it, but just prepping for it was like crazy. I had to pull out like max HP, max defense Typhlosion. Like, that thing just forces you to prep really weirdly and like bring mons that you probably don't want to bring. Like, just it existing, I think, is such an advantage heading into matchups. But yeah, what do you think, Krash?
So one thing I want to point out, right, is, you know, OG Albina was put through the ringer, bro. I'm gonna be honest. In the beginning of the season, he was put through the ringer, bro.
This is true, yeah.
3 of the first 4 matches he has was against the last 3 champions of the seasons. So he had Crypto, Sketch, and Smart were the last 3 champions for Krash, I believe, the last 3 seasons, if I remember correctly.
Did OG Albina win the one before that? Was that the season?
Yeah, I think so.
No.
He won season 4. Dawn won the. Dawn
gotcha.
Missed one. Yeah. So he was put through the first 4 out of the first 4 games. He had 3 winners, and the 4th one was Lamaza, who's also like pretty goated. Also, he's been in the finals as well, and he also won in championship in the lower division as well when he was in there. But he was put through the ringer, and I think that could also be why he started out very slow, to be honest. That's a good chance, but I think he's been turning around. I think he's now on a better direction. I think his schedule looks a lot easier than it did before, I guess, or not as difficult. I think if I remember, like all 4 of those teams right now are like close to a playoff position or in a playoff position at one point this season. So I think OG Abana has like a chance to turn it around. There's plenty of time left in the season to like make that playoff push, and I think OG Abana is capable of doing it. Especially with this schedule, I think is like a lot of his schedule is about with teams that are also not in that playoff position currently as of right now. So, but yeah, Tara Victini, fire. Nasty, absolutely disgusting. I know you also been using like not even just in like this league, but in other leagues I've seen you used in Dunsparce like very well. So I think you'd be a really big menace with that. But yeah, Terra, Fire Victini, yeah. You need a Flash Fireman for it. Like,
basically.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I think you'll make a pretty like it'll be a close playoff push, but I think you'll make that playoff push. So we'll see how it goes though. Yeah.
Yeah, right now in standings, Ojo Abana's at 11th. I had him ranked at 8th because I really do think that he's gonna make that playoff push. I can feel it. I feel like, I don't know. Again, like Bash said, it was kind of a tough schedule to start off with, and I feel like that can be like a little bit tilting for sure. But I definitely think that you have the team to turn it around. I think that you can make the push to the playoffs for sure. You just gotta make sure you hit those sleep talk rolls. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, no, I'm playing. No, I apologize. I know our match was a little haxy back and forth for sure, but I do think that you can turn it around for sure.
A rivalry brewing.
Yo.
Give this man a pregame cupcake, and I'll tell you the story will be different. Let me just tell you.
Yo, in 9th place, we have Jimmy, coach of the Pittsburgh Original Steelers. Crypto Man. Talk to the people about Jimmy.
You still suck. No, Jimmy.
Yo, that's a rude snipe, man. That's a rude snipe.
Yeah, cute. No, honestly, it's not even mattered. That's my whole goal. I play Jimmy week 10, and I'm gonna obliterate him and make sure Zarud dies first. I can't wait. Oh, it's the best. But anyways, Jimmy G has the team of Zamazinta Crown, which is Terra fighting or something like that. It doesn't really matter. Yes. Terra fighting.
Terra doesn't really even matter. What?
Necrozma, Rotom Wash, Zarud, Charizard Mega Y, Dragalge, Donphan, Wigglytuff, Terra Lilligant, which is 2 points somehow. I don't know who made this doc, but this is whack. Walrein and Relicanth. So right away, I don't like 12-mon rosters. I'm not saying I don't like them because they're bad. I don't like them because they're annoying to prep against. Because there's so many things you have to take into accountability, which is really, really annoying. And immediately, Jimmy's used his team pretty well. It's a very Jimmy-esque team. He's got the Landorus, Necrozma, Rotom, Mega Charizard Y. And I don't know for sure, but Necrozma might be on the kill leaderboard. Is that a fact, guys?
No,
never mind.
It's not a fact. It's not a fact at all.
It still sucks.
Yeah, it's just an opinion. It's just an opinion.
Yeah, exactly. That was my opinion, but turns out
I'm pretty sure Zarud's higher than Tapu Fini though right now.
That's not even true. But no. So far, Jimmy in his games, he's gotten 6-0 twice, hasn't he? Like, yes, I'm not even trying to roast. Like, I'm being dead ass. But he's still in a very, very close playoff position right now. Actually, he's in eighth place at the moment, which is
yeah.
Because and then he's right there, so it's good to keep in mind. And yeah, that's really all I have. I'm not really gonna spew any more nonsense on the man. We'll save that for week 10. And then what do you guys got to say about this sorcery?
Well, do you want me to go?
It's all you.
So the only it's funny that Crypto mentioned like the 6-0s, right? Because the only 2 losses he's had have been 6-0'd. So as long as you kill him on, then you're good, Jimmy. Then you're good for the rest of the game. You'll win. So, but honestly, Jimmy's team is like very interesting. It is a very much Jimmy team kind of thing, and it's crazy because like he does have a 12-man roster, and you would think like some of the lower threats he might not bring, right? Walrein, but Relicanth, Wigglytuff, stuff like that, Lilligant. But dude, this man brings them, and when he brings them, they're like so annoying to prep, to play against. So I think like Jimmy does a really good job in prep and sort of thing where like he's able to use all of his mons, so everybody has to prep for all 12 mons to be honest, because otherwise something's gonna screw them over. Because he has a team that he will honestly bring any mon on it. There's no mon that like he'll kind of like leave out a lot.
Didn't he bring Walrein and Relicanth against you, like both of them?
Yeah, he did. He did. So that's what I'm saying. Like he brings out the great prep for it too. But yeah, I think your team is really good. Very terrifying to prep for. I hope to see more Zamazenta stuff, because that thing's broken. I hope to see a lot more crazy things with Zamazenta, getting that in and just like breaking or like setting up and sweeping. It gets like different ways to set up too with Trailblaze and like iron defense and like body press and stuff like that and whatever. But yeah, I'm hoping to see more of that. I know Jimmy, you've always done well in the past, and making that playoff push. But I will say this season, the end of the schedule, I believe, is not pretty. It is not pretty. But we know Jimmy G has that clutch gene, bro. So we'll see how it goes. Looking forward to seeing how this rest of the season goes for Jimmy. I'll be probably watching closely to see. So.
Look through your window, you'll see Bash out there watching closely. That's scary.
Yeah, big facts. Crypto listed off the mons that are like Jimmy mons, and the one he didn't mention is Don Fan too, man. That's a Jimmy staple right there. This is a team that Jimmy's, I think, very at home with using, and even though I've never seen him use Zamazenta Crown, maybe he has in another league, but it just feels like a Jimmy mon. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but it just feels like I'm glad to see that you're off to a 3-2 start. I think that's a nice place to be. You're in playoff contention still. Well, I guess everybody for the most part is in playoff contention, but I mean that you're currently in a top 8 slot, which is always a good position to be in. At this point, I had you ranked a little bit lower than the other guys, and the only reason for that is because your losses have been 6-0s and your wins have been on Bloodcrawler, Yahoodles, and Ill Kid, I believe, which all 3 of them were ranked like in our bottom 6. Like the biggest win so far has been on Bloodcrawler, just according to how our rankings have gone so far. And so it's like, just because the other 2 matches were 6-0 wins, it's a little bit hard for me to say like really, really confidently that this is a top team. I don't think that you're having a bad season at all. That's a positive record, and I think that's really all that you need to make playoffs a lot of the time. But I think I just am not fully convinced yet. Like, I just need to see a little bit more before I'm like, yeah, this is definitely like the top threat in the league. You know what I mean? And like Bash said, like, your schedule just does not let up in the second half. Like, some people can kind of coast on having like a slightly easier rest of the season, and unfortunately I don't think that's the case for you. I feel like you do still have some pretty tough games to prep for, but if it goes the way that it's been going so far, then I think that you definitely have a good shot of making playoffs. Right now you're like on the cusp of it, but like, I think that you're definitely capable of cleaning out the season. I think that you are in a very like middle ground place right now. Like, I don't think that you're doing like ridiculously like fantastic, but you're definitely not doing bad at all. And I think really it's just going to come down to this like close to the season. I think it's going to be kind of close for you, but yeah, I don't think I have too much else to say. I think you're off to a pretty good start for sure.
Shout out real quick to the Lilligant, because I think, didn't he sweep with that thing one week? the Terra low again?
Yeah, I think so.
something?
I believe.
That was one of,
Yeah, I guess Ill Kid, I think.
respect.
Because that was when we were like, why is that thing 2 points?
Yeah.
But I think Ill Kid pointed it out. I was like, yeah, maybe we didn't place that in the right place.
Yeah. Anything that learns Quiver Dance should automatically jump like 7 points.
Apparently, man.
Yeah.
So we can go ahead and enter the top half of our rankings now. That is starting off in 8th place. We have Volume, coach of the Arizona Dactyls. And that homie, Volume, has a team consisting of... Oh yeah, he's got the new squad. I always forget. It's all the Gen 9 mons. We got Roaring Moon, Palafin, Iron Treads, Annihilate, Galarian Weezing, Galarian Moltres, Thunderous Therian, Quilladin, Mega Gardevoir, and Dunsparce. I love seeing Dunsparce get drafted. Can never get enough of it. I was skeptical of Volume's team, after the draft, not because it's like a bad team or anything, but I was concerned about how he would do with it, given how many new mons there are. I felt like maybe it would be a team that he wasn't very comfortable using because there's just a lot of new mons to get used to. But I feel like Volume is off to a really strong start. 3-2, positive differential. So of the 3-2 teams, I think he actually has the highest differential, which is a pretty good place to be in. Yeah, I had to face this team as well, and I quickly learned that Palafin is just like ridiculous to switch in on once it turns into Terra Water. I feel like giving that thing priority is ridiculous. Right after I faced him, I switched my Terra user so that I could have a priority using Terra user, because I just realized how crazy of a threat that thing is. And then on the other hand, you have Galarian Moltres, that I also think is like one of the really giant threats. I feel like you're using this team well. I think it would have been really easy for you to like fold with this team, and if you did, like, I wouldn't have blamed you because there were so many new mons. I would have just been like, oh well, you know, it's a kind of hard team to pull off, but I think that you're using it really effectively. And yeah, I think that it's going pretty well for you. I don't think I have too much else to add beyond that, but I think you're off to a very strong start, so kudos to you for that.
Yeah, Terra Galarian Moltres is just frustrating because I think that's one of the... It's like one of those, like, you can somewhat prep around those Terra Fremons, but Moltres is like a really hard one to predict because it can go offensive or defensively just based off of like its role, like easily any game. So I don't know, like it could stop a sweep or it could like start a sweep, like depending on what you want it to do every single week, and depending on how his game plan and whatnot. So I think as a combo, that might be utilizing his combo Terras like Palafin and Moltres like one of the best in the league so far, just because I've seen both those put in so much work already. And I think Palafin really functions as very similar to like that Megalopony role where it can just clean up games so easily, especially with the Terra Water, which he's done a few times, or at least if it's not been a few times, at least once, which has been cool to see. And I think he's even got a Dragon Dance Roaring Moon sweep, so he's used all of his new mons pretty effectively, like Sketch was saying. I would like to see Quilladin a little bit more. I don't know if it might have come to like one game, but other than that, like you got to show off a little baby, man. You got to represent. But yeah, really cool team and squad. I always look forward to watching Volume games, just especially because of the team he's using, but also because Volume usually comes in with some pretty cool prep ideas. So yeah, that's my boy.
Yeah. So yeah. Oh man, catch him. Yeah. So one thing I'll note that like is that like you won the last 2 games, right? And the last 2 games you won, you actually brought Galarian Moltres. So I think he's starting to realize the Galarian Moltres is so annoying to deal with Terra. Because it's so easy, it's so bulky to be in with too, to be honest. And like it gets like really good setup and nasty pawn and agility. And the fact that you can get Terra Blast with the Terra type, and also like that with all that shenanigans, it can literally run through teams so easily. And with the Berserk boost as well, like that thing is like he's such a menace. And I think Volume realized that. and that's why he started bringing it a lot more. I can see Volume like keep making that play. I believe, is he outside the playoffs right now or is inside? He's inside playoffs again. Yeah, here now he's inside playoffs. I think he probably could keep that position. I think he's gonna ride his way through it with Galarian Moltres Terra. Because honestly, Palafin's terrifying with Terra Water, but like it doesn't even need Terra Water to like destroy teams. I think Galarian Moltres, he's is absolutely so much more of a huge threat right now with the Terra, because it literally there's like no checks on it, and if you want to bring in like a bulky check right to it, it could set up on it pretty easily. I guess Taunt too, to be able to beat like those like more stall mons too. But yeah, Galarian Moltres is a threat, and I hate that thing is so terrifying with Terra, and I think he's gonna make a good playoff. I think he can make it into playoffs pretty easily if he rides on that mon through the rest of the season. But we'll see, I guess, depending on how.
On that mon, what?
Yeah. I think that's a great time for Sketch to import his question.
Anyway, something else that I think is worth mentioning. I think what separates Volume from maybe say like Jimmy, where it's like I point out with Jimmy that like his wins were against teams that were like ranked kind of lower, and so I wasn't sure how convinced I was. I feel like all of Volume's wins so far have been pretty impressive. All three of them were against coaches that we haven't even ranked yet, so it's a kind of weird notion that he's beaten 3 people ranked above him. But one of them was against myself, which I don't know if I agree that I should be ranked above him, but I didn't rank myself.
Spoilers!
So
Spoilers!
It's not a spoiler. Spoilers. I haven't been said yet. That's not a spoiler. That's not a spoiler. You're spoiling. You're spoiling. No, but I don't think I'm having the greatest season necessarily, but that is still like a W against a former champion, which is pretty big. Up through week 5, Volume was the only one to defeat A12, which is pretty big, and then he's also gotten a win over Lamaza, which is another big W. And so it's one of those things where like a lot of people have like a kind of difficult second half of the season, and that makes me concerned for how they're going to close it out. But I think that Volume has proven that even against tough competition that he's able to bring the right team and make the right plays, and just use his team really effectively even against tough opponents. So I definitely feel good about his shot at locking down a spot in playoffs.
Yes. And we've been talking to him recently, and we're starting to gain trust back. So I've been sending him a few of my PokePays, and so far so good. No, actually, I haven't sent him any PokePays yet.
But he has not gotten a single one from me.
I might make you pay me if you want one, but yeah.
This is like OnlyFans for PokePastes.
Yeah, I'll give you my PokePaste picks, and then you can slide me 5.
Yeah, PokeFans, let's go.
PokeFans.
Volume is obsessed, dude. He's got a bad addiction with those. He's got too many burner accounts. He's getting banned.
Oh.
Yeah, shit. All right. Yeah, no, fire team though, fire coach, fire gameplay. L.
Catch him.
Yeah. Catch him.
In 7th place, we got Lamaza, coach of the Sassuolo Darkrai. Bash, you want to take this one?
Sus Darkrai.
Yep.
Whoa.
Yep.
The Sus Darkrai.
The Sus Darkrai. Yep. The Sus Darkrai's have Iron Valiant, Specshear, Hydreigon, Poison Terra, Excadrill, Soaking, Toxtricity, Gigalith, Moltres, Beartic, Farigiraf, Terra-All, Spidops, and Cradilly. So something to note, I think Lamaza's had like some really good wins, but he also has been like some of them he's been like kind of just like what some preps kind of like put him in the back foot, I guess, like some like prep that he wasn't ready for. I guess it's more of like to say like something surprising caught him off guard, and why he like I think he kind of lost some of the I think 2 games if I remember correctly. Yeah. I think one thing that we talked about from all the way back from PRs, we're excited about Fergraf. That thing has been doing stuff.
Oh yeah.
That thing has in fact been doing stuff.
Fergraf.
Yeah, and one thing I was noting, I'll say it right now because this is going up after the match happened, but Smot was actually asking for some help against this match against this player. And the problem with Lamazo's team is what makes it so difficult to prep for is because I feel like he has so many different ways that he could win games so easily, right? He's got Iron Valiant and Spectrier alone, right? Those two are absolute menace. He's got Hydreigon, but he also has Sand and he has Snow. He has Fergraf right there as well. He's got Toxtricity. It's just ridiculous. His team is so annoying to prep for because there's so many different things you could prep for. And honestly, he could bring pretty much any of them every week except for Spidops and Cradilly, but that's besides the point. He just brought that because he had a couple points left over. He got those because he had a couple points left over. But the problem is his team is so difficult to prep for. You can't prep for everything, and it's just it's just so difficult to be able to deal with this team. It's just really difficult to prep for. I would say, and just so many threats. I do think he'll keep a playoff position. To be honest. It should be interesting after a couple matches, but I hope I'm excited to see what he does for the rest of the season. I'm excited to see more things with Fergraf because that thing is goated, right? But yeah, so yeah.
Yeah. No, just to get more in specific with the Fergraf, can I mention the things it's done so far, just in case you guys aren't aware. So this is really cool because for a 5-point Terramon, he's utilized it in probably one of the best defensive roles out of a mon I've seen so far in checking a Zygarde, which is really hard to do. A Terra normal Zygarde, but I'm just that was pretty cool. The set he brought it at least. And then in his week 1 matchup or week 2 match or week 3, whatever week it was against Ilkid, he was down 1v2 or 1v3 and he brought out the Terra Electric Fergraf and offensively swept or whatever. But it was he's done some really cool things with that so far. And like you were saying, this team has so many different variants of ways to win, and he's got pretty good defensive staples in Gigalith and Slowking that are kind of in Moltres that are just setting those guys up for success.
And apparently Fergraf too, I guess.
Seriously, Fergraf, that's the biggest threat there. And also Hydreigon is just a really annoying Terra to play against because ideally you take your Fairy in and pretty easily be able to take it on, or not easily but fairly easily take it on. But now Terra Poison, it's just not fun, and he's utilized that pretty good so far too. I believe that was something that stopped Yoohoodles from a Gardevoir sweep too earlier in the season, which was really cool to see. Yet to bring Spidops, I'm pretty sure. So you got to get on that, man. You got to get on that.
Same with Cradilly as well. I think. I don't think
he brought it against Volume.
Oh, he did. Okay.
Yeah.
It was probably because of.
Yeah, there because Palafin, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. But no, yeah, really, really cool squad so far. And I think he's got Excadrill in the top 10, or if not, it's really close. So he's used that pretty well so far, which is good to see. But yeah.
It's not, by the way.
Oh,
that was just an opinion. Just an opinion.
Just another opinion, guys. It's close, okay?
Something else that's really nice about Hydreigon Poison. I think Poison is actually a pretty solid defensive typing, only having the weakness to Psychic and Ground. And Hydreigon having Levitate gets rid of the ground weakness, and then who wants to bring a Psychic type in on Hydreigon? So it's just there's nothing that you can switch in on it easily because Fairies can't switch in anymore, and there's nothing that you can actually offensively pressure it with easily. It's just a very difficult mon to play around. I agree with what you guys have said. I have kind of always maintained I think that Lamaza has one of the scariest looking teams that we have this season. Just a very, very strong draft with a very strong coach captaining the team. The thing that has it a little bit lower than other people for me is that Lamaza has a very toxic couple of weeks coming up. I guess to be candid, Lamaza is facing the top 3 teams in standings over the course of the next 3 weeks. He is going through the gauntlet, and that is maybe not going to be very fun. But I mean, I definitely think that Lamaza is capable of picking up wins against these coaches, and so I guess your playoff contention, I think, is really going to come down to how the next 3 weeks go. And, you know, I wish you luck as you approach it, but I definitely think that you have the team that can pull off successfully making it through a gauntlet like that. Yeah, I think that you've had a good start to the season, and I still think that your team is like ridiculous. I don't know how we let you get that team, but yeah, that's all I got.
Facts.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You mean get this one for you, buddy?
Yeah, at number 6.
At number 6, it only took a $1,000 bribe, but here he is, Sketch AV. Nah.
I don't know how I made it this high. But...
No. We'll go over our boys' team real quick. Let me find it real quick. Shit.
What?
Okay, I got it. So Sketch here has made some nice little transactions. I think they took into account before week 5, right? Or like during week 5 or something.
Yes.
So yes, my man's got the Sneasler, Gliscor, Baxcalibur, Terra Steel Scizor, Demon. He's got Terra All Jolteon. He's got Mega Tyranitar now, Grimmsnarl, Celebi, Wishy-Washy, Chandelure, and the All and Mighty Vespiquen. So yeah, I've went against this team before he made the transactions, which was already pretty annoying to prep against because, in my opinion, it was an unorthodox draft. But like those are like my least favorite to prep against because I don't know what to expect. And now it's like, I don't know. I think now it's even better with what he's done with it. I think Grimmsnarl helps him abuse the screens with the new Mons he added to his team pretty well, especially the Terra Scizor. I respect that a lot for sure, and Mega Tyranitar is a big one because that thing is, you know, behind even just a Reflect alone, its Spit F is so high, like that thing is capable of taking over games by itself, which is very scary in its own right. And got to give a shout out to Sketch on this for sure. I think he's the only coach who has 2 Pokemon in the top 10 on kill leaderboard, which is yeah, he's the only one there, which is. He's got the Sneasler and the Baxcalibur both sitting at 8 kills.
The only things getting kills on my team.
Yeah. Well,
they were
you know
like both top 3 for a second too, I think.
They were, yeah. No, like if you start going on wins again, those 2 things will probably start popping off again. Like those will be the 2 things rising, which would be funny. But yeah, no, Sketch has had I guess I would say like an unfortunate start because we do have him ranked pretty high on this list, and he's 2 and 3. But at the same time, like those games have been nail biting. Like I know the one against me, for example, came down to a 1-0, and it ended off with a Clodsire, like against a Jolteon that was asleep, which they kind of relied on sleep turns, I believe, if I remember correctly. And there was also the Mew in the Tapu Fini Speed Tide, which was like a huge indicator on like how the game would have went. So had he thrown like a few more EVs into Mew, he probably would have just won the game.
Just one. He needed 4.
He needed 4 more EVs pretty much. We Speed Tide, and it was like a really weird creep by both of us because we're like, yeah, he's definitely running that speed. I'll be good with this. No, it wasn't good.
I think it was funny that like we landed on that speed for 2 very different reasons too. Like it was just such a random thing to speed tie on.
Oh my god, no, dude. That game was really close. There was the game that played up against Smot, which came down to, was that a 1-0 as well?
A roll. It was a roll.
It came down to a roll, and there was obviously some other indicators in there that were not the prettiest for my boy.
Yeah, that wasn't a 1-0. I think that was a 3-0.
3-0, okay.
Correctly.
Yeah, that game was very close, very dicey.
Yeah,
and then there was also what was the other loss? It was to Volume?
Yeah, which I think that one was a 1-0 if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that was a 1-0, and like that's just going back to Volume, like making like that's where Galarian Moltres like bailed him out in that game, which you know, which was kind of like we were flexing that thing a little bit. But aside from that, like Sketch just had some pretty good wins so far, and I think that he's got the back end schedule to really make a run at it for sure. And his new team really gives me a lot of faith that he'll be able to make some pushes here for sure. And I'm excited to see it.
Yeah. So I actually helped Sketch with these FAs that he made. We like sat, like we came up with so many different ones, right? But we went with this one. I'm gonna be honest, like I am terrified if I ever play Sketch. Like it would have to be playoffs if we do. Mega T-Tar is so in Sketch's hands. First off, Mega T-Tar is a menace to begin with. That thing takes almost every hit, pretty much, other than CC. or like any fighting like physical move, and then even then there's a chance it probably still could take it depending on what move and what Pokemon is going off with, but in Sketch's hands this thing is a menace, especially when you combine it with screen light screen, like screens, like dual screens, Prankster, Grimmsnarl with Parting Shot. Like T-Tar's going to be able to get like set up pretty freely. He's got a very much team with like a lot of good setup, and Grimmsnarl is going to support the team very well. I think Gliscor adds a lot more bulk onto adds some more bulk onto the team, which is really nice. And I think the speed tiers are pretty decent. And of course, he's got 2 mods in the top 10, Baxcalibur and Sneasler. Both he's been a menace with to begin with. But yeah, I think Jolteon also, Terra Jolteon's amazing too. But Sketch, I think I think the reason I put Sketch higher than some of the teams that like have a better record than him is because like his losses, right? So a lot of the I'm gonna be honest, like some of the losses came down to like hacks or just like literally just like an EV, like 4 EVs, right? That's literally what it came down to, or rolls, whatever. So I think like it's literally came down to RNG a lot of times. I guess even with the one with like the speed tying, right? It came down to RNG of which one was gonna outspeed first, right? Between Mew and Top Affinity, but I think like if Sketch prays to the RNG god a little bit more, I think he'll be alright for the rest of the season. I think he'll make the playoff push, especially with these new FAs. Absolutely terrifying and a menace to play against with all the setup and that he has on his team with this dual screens Grimmsnarl. Going to be a pain to play against. I think he just needs to do a little couple prayers beforehand, before each match, to the RNG lords, just make sure, like no crits, no like whatever, So yeah.
I just want to add one more thing real quick, is that Sketch could go with the triple dark and add him a ball stiff, and that I think would honestly make him the playoffs. Like right there.
You'll have to grab it for me and trade because I'm out of transactions.
Okay, I got you, Doug.
Yo.
No, I feel like, it has been an unfortunate start to the season for sure, but I don't want to act like it's just only because of hacks or only because of like the 4 EV speed thing. I mean, I do think, no disrespect to Crypto, I do think I won that if I just had the 4 EVs, but I also feel like given how that game started, like so much in my favor, the fact that you were able to bring that back, like I don't want to take that away from you at all. I felt like in the first half of this season, like all of my games have just been so ridiculously close, and I felt like I was just struggling in the late game to like clinch out those wins. Just something felt like very off about like my original team, and I couldn't quite place it. But I really like the transactions. I think that the team is better than it was before, and I liked my team a lot before too, but like just in play I wasn't really able to do it. But I think that this team is a lot more well-rounded than my previous one was. I think the last one was like a little bit too top-heavy, whereas this one, I think every mon of the team has a role to play, which is pretty nice. And yeah, I really like the idea of Terra Steel Scizor for me. Frankly, I just didn't feel like I was gonna need to bring Terra Ghost Sneasler in like upcoming matchups and stuff, and I felt like it might help out with like, again, like that top heaviness of my team, of just like spreading out like where the big threats are. Because now when you look at my team, it's like, okay, well there's like the top 10 kill leader like Sneasler, and then there's the top 10 kill leader Baxcalibur, but now there's also like an entirely new threat of like Terra Scizor to watch out for. I feel like just like the threats on my team are spaced out a lot better than they were before, and yeah, I feel pretty good about that. I also think that, hopefully, I think that the second half of my schedule will be a little bit lighter than the first half was. And
you call me fat?
Your team is for sure, yeah. I feel optimistic. I think it'll be kind of tough. I don't think I'm in the greatest position right now in terms of like the record, but I think that my differential for a team with a negative record, I'm still at 0 diff, which is a pretty good place to be in. I definitely think that it's possible to turn this around. So,
yes, sir. I'm excited. Also, Terra Jolteon is very annoying to play. Terra
Jolteon is so good. Like, that thing has come to, like, all but one match. And it's not even, like, driving the kills on my team, but I feel like it's been so pivotal to, like, every single match it's come to.
It's been, like, it's almost like functions like the Farigga app in a way, where it, like, has the defensive capability now with the typing. It's really weird.
Yeah, well, yeah, against you for sure, because I ran Wish Jolteon.
Yeah. Twice now. Starting to feel a little disrespected here.
Yeah, I've only ever run Wish Jolteon against you. Yeah, we can move on though. To Bash at 5th place. It's a New York Muse, which allow me. I'd like to do the honors. We got,
of course.
We got Chien Pao. You know, pretty cool guy. We got Galarian Slowking. He's a little weird, but he's part of the crew too. We got Terra Normal Zygarde. That's the homie for sure. The goat right there. We got Togekiss. You know, it tried to kiss me once, and it just made the whole vibe really awkward. It's Vaporeon. You know, in terms of like human compatibility, Vaporeon is like, no, you know, I won't even go down that route. Never mind. We got Mega Aggron. You know,
wait,
I've seen what?
Did you just skip over Delphox?
No, I just have it written down in a different order.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry. We'll get to it. We'll get to it. We got Mega Aggron. I've seen that thing like do bench presses with Bash before. It was crazy. It just like picked them up and like, yeah, you wouldn't believe it, man. We got Decidueye. That thing is like always licking Tootsie Pops, but like it never is able to count how many licks it takes to get to the center because it ends up chomping them after 3. We got Iron Hands, the patty cake champion. We got Delphox. You know, I didn't forget you. And we got Masquerain out here with the sticky webs and the new Terra user that is Masquerain free. You know, I made like a couple predictions in the last Power Rankings video. One of them was that I said that Terra Normal Zygarde was the sleeper threat of the season, and that has definitely come true. It is the #1 kill leader of the season right now. That thing is crazy. It's toxic. Thank God I don't have to face it. I do mocks for Bash this season, and I've had to like go against this thing in mocks a couple times, and I hate it every single time because even like when you're winning, that thing really can just turn the entire game around if you just let it set up, and it's just so beefy and thick, you know, it's just thick and beefy. And yeah, I think I just like your team a lot. I think that you use it well. You've been mixing up the team a lot. You know, you just picked up an Armarouge to like 6-0 Jimmy and then dropped it the next week.
That was a flex.
But yeah, it's like it's almost like hard to say like, oh yeah, you're using your team really well because you're just like rotating it around. You know, now you got like webs and stuff. Like I don't even want to know what you're about to do with this Masquerain for like what 2 points.
Yeah, another Quiver Dance mod.
Another Quiver Dance. Yeah, I think it's probably also gonna be broken. You know, Delphox with Magic Guard Mind Blown is gonna be pretty crazy.
No.
Oh, did we ban that this season? Okay, never mind.
Nope.
Never mind.
Are you sure? Are you sure it's not without it? What?
Yeah.
That's the only reason I picked it. Oh damn, God. Oh.
Yeah. Then when Iron Hands goes for a belly drum patty cake, it gets the speed boost off of that. That's pretty crazy too. No, I'm kind of bullshitting here because I really don't have like a ton to say outside of just that. Yeah, I think your team is really good, and I think that you're using it really well. You're at a solid 3-2 up to week 5. Is that where you were?
Up to week 5, yeah, 3-2.
Yeah, 3-2 with some pretty noteworthy wins from what I remember, and just like ultimately, I feel like there are teams that I think are having stronger seasons, but that doesn't mean that you're doing bad at all. And I think I would be shocked if you don't make playoffs. I think no matter what, I see your team ending in top 5. And really, I think you have the potential to land anywhere in that top 5. Like I think that you're doing really, really well, Bash. You know, High five.
Thank you.
Put
Thank
this
you.
report card on
Patty
your
cake?
fridge. You know,
Patty
cakes
cake?
for sure. Patty cake for sure. Yeah, this is a report card that you can take home and put in your fridge. Yeah. Straight A's.
Yeah. So like, kind of get into this team. Like, it's kind of similar stuff Sketch was saying. Sloking is in fact pretty weird, because I did catch one time they were like in the back alley. Sloking was getting kind of double teamed by Mega Aggron and Iron Hands.
Yo, kind of jokes, actually.
It's nothing weird. Like Mega Aggron was bench pressing Sloking, and Iron Hands was like behind him giving him a noogie, and I was like, "Yo, what's going on here?" Togekiss had to come over there and start kissing him to get him off, and I was like, "Hey, yo!" it was mad sus, but like, you know, Bash somehow brought them together, and now they're working really well as a big old family. They're having lunch together now. Like, everybody's vibing really well. Like, the Decidueye's just off in the corner licking his Tootsie Pop still, not specifically his paws, but like, but like, you know, he's starting to fit in. But in all seriousness, Bash has had a nice start to the season. His team is just not fun to play. Like, my game specific against Bash is like very indicative of what Sketch said. Whereas Zygarde, you can be like up in the game, but Zygarde literally brings it back single-handedly. Like, I had to play so specific around that thing just to like have a shot to get around it, and I still didn't even know. And granted, I did kind of smash Bash that game.
Bro, no, you didn't smash. You crit, bro. You crit. You CC.
I crit and noogied him when he wasn't expecting it, and it was kind of rude. And I will admit I got a little lucky in that game, but it was all calculated. Trust me.
Calculated, bro.
At the end of the day, though, like, no, Bash has used his team really well. Zygarde #1 on the kill leaderboard for a reason. Like, Bash has done a good job with it. It's got multiple different sets it can run. Which makes it pretty scary. I am happy to see that you picked up Iron Hands. I want to see that thing start putting some work for sure.
I did it just for you, Crypto. I did it just for you, buddy.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. And very big honorable mention to Vaporeon. I think it's like, if we're doing awards at the end of the season, as far as like specific roles, I think Vaporeon should get a shout at the moment for like defensive Pokemon of the year, just because like I think it's been a really, really big glue piece to you, and I think that's something you mentioned at the beginning of the season, like it would be a really big part of the team. And it definitely has been. So, big shout outs. I would be kind of disappointed in you if Zygarde doesn't get kill leader at this point. Like, it's been leading all season essentially.
Dude,
so
it just depends. It just depends on some other things. We'll get into that when we get to there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But no, overall solid squad. I am very, very excited to see what you do the rest of the season with it, and I hope to catch you in playoffs, buddy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Just to answer one thing that Crypto said, like, yeah, so like with I said I got the Iron Hands just for him. I just want to make sure, Crypto, you can pay me back later if you know what I mean. Like, wink, wink, a little bit later.
I'll give you that little noogie treatment if you know what I'm talking about.
Oh no, we're going farther than noogie though, bro. We're going farther than noogie.
We'll be boogieing with the noogie, and you know what I'm saying.
But yeah, yeah, I honestly, like, going into the season, thought Chantel was going to be the biggest menace to on my team, but honestly, it's been Zygarde, and I've loved using it. It honestly is the captain of my team. That is why it's the Terra captain. It is the captain of the team. It will rally the troops back to possible wins.
Got cringe.
Okay, but yeah, no, I'm excited to see. I'm excited to possibly show off Mass Green. We'll see how it goes. Haven't bought it yet. But it could be a menace as well. And we'll see how it goes. Yeah, I don't want to say too much about my team, but yeah. Start off a good start. Got hacked by Crypto.
Okay.
But yeah. So, but yeah, we'll see how this goes the rest of the season. Excited to see how it goes. So, yeah. Yeah.
Big facts. Yeah, for sure. We both go to saying big facts.
That's like our try to move it along thing. It's like big facts. Let's go.
Okay, moving on. Fourth place, we have 812, coach of the Arkham City Delibirds. You know, every time we do like the post-draft power rankings, we say, like, you know, if you want to like don't take it too seriously, like, just prove us wrong. I feel like A12 and also another coach that we'll talk about later has definitely done that, because this team was ranked, was it last place or like 15th place?
Like 14th, 15th or something like that, yeah.
I think it's 15th.
It was really low, and it was weird putting it that low, because like after the draft, like Bash told me, he's like, I do not want to face A12's team. And at first I was like, really? Like, I don't know, his team looks kind of like weird and all over the place. But then like the more I looked at it, I was like, I can see how this team is going to be like really devastating for people to deal with. And I'm really glad, because I don't think it's on my schedule. And thank God for that, because like it's just really toxic, for lack of a better word. And A12 is using it really, really well. Up to week 5, there's only 1 loss, and yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just like it's just crazy. Like, it doesn't make sense on paper, but in practice, this team just operates so well together. There's just like really good pivoting with things like, you know, teleport slowbro, and then there's like, you know, fast momentum with like U-turn Crobat, and all this momentum works to get Gothitelle in the field to get rid of whatever Mon is able to like threaten out, like Chi-Yu or something like that. And I feel like Gothitelle is just used in a way that can like put a lot of, it can pretty much just rip a hole in whatever team it's going up against with the right prep. And yeah, I don't know. I'm officially sold on this team. I was skeptical of it at first. Like, at first I was like, I can see the idea behind it. Whether or not it actually plays out that way, I don't know. But as we're like halfway through the season, like, I can see it. I see what this team is designed to do, and I see that it's working for you. So even though it's a pretty weird team, like, I have no doubt that you're gonna make playoffs with it. Yeah, it's a solid team. I don't really have much else to say outside of that, but yeah.
Yeah. I would like to say that, like, when I said it was like I didn't want to face it also is because, like, he has some of the best wall breakers in the game, which makes it even so much more scarier. And the fact that Chi-Yu is the Terra user too with fire also is just like so like devastating to just play against. With Chi-Yu, right, Dracovish, and Tyrantrum, those 3 alone, and then you can include Mega Camera if you want or not, like either way. But those 3, combined with the fact that you have Gothitelle to trap the monster that could switch into him, is just so annoying to deal with. Especially since Chi-Yu and Dracovish usually like the switch-ins are waters, right? So they can work together to try to break down the waters together. Well, so I don't think. What's gonna happen? I think what's gonna happen is that both of those mons are gonna be able to overpower eventually the bulky water that's checking both of them, because it can't check both of them. It's gonna choose one. Probably it's gonna have to choose one. Probably what's gonna make a big. it's gonna allow the other ones just like power through the rest of the team. And the fact that with the whole momentum thing and everything. Yeah, it's so difficult. I will say. I liked the team better before you made the FAs, I think. I believe you, dropped Mega Metacham, if I remember correctly. And let me pull up the rest of them just to make sure. Yeah, dropping Mega Metacham for camera type. Oh, actually, Tyrantrum was a good pick, but I feel like the rest of it, I don't know. I wasn't sure. Like, Trapinch, I don't know about Mr. Mime. I feel like you could have gone better mons for that place, to be honest, too. You could have gone to, like, a better lower tiers. Especially since I really like Mega Metacham on the team. That thing really broke. really breaks, too. But Tyrantrum does a good job of that as well. So I guess I could give him some leeway on that. But yeah, hate. This team is terrifying. Don't want to face it. Of course, I end up having to face it. Thank you, Splurge, for that, by the way. But yeah, yeah. A12 has been having a great season. Literally showing us wrong, showing us up, I guess, on the PRs, because he didn't do well on PRs after the draft. But yeah, Crypto, you got anything to say?
Yeah, I think A12 specifically, Jimmy too, but A12 specifically has made me realize just in draft that I don't think that there should ever be a standard way of drafting. I feel like a lot of people have their like stuck in their mind that you have to like have certain roles in every single category. And every season A12 drafts a very unorthodox team and you're like, "Oh, he's missing this, he's missing that. He doesn't have this thing. He's going to like not be able to do anything." But when you go into prep against that, I'm breaking the fourth wall. I played A12 week 6. I won't mention that game or anything, but
Spoilers.
I won't mention that, but literally, I think prepping against a team like that is harder than prepping against what you would call a standard team, just because you don't really know what to expect going in. Like, you might see a hole in his team that he realizes is there, and he'll figure out a way to counter like what you're gonna do to do that. And it's not a very like normal way to approach a game. And I think every time I've played A12, I've always just had trouble in reading him. And usually I don't really know how the game is going to go until like halfway through the game. And it really relies on a lot of outplaying more so than out prepping, because like I said, it's very much so a mind game going into it with this guy. Like it's tough, and I think that's one of the stronger things about A12. In like a weird way, I would say that one of his stronger suits in draft is probably his prep and his just team in general, even though it looks very weird on paper. Like I'd say that's one of his stronger suits in general. And I'd give him a big shout for that. And I think that's why he always does pretty consistently well in a lot of seasons and leagues. But yeah, absolutely. And big shouts. I know I'm right about this one, but Chiyu is in the top 10. Just had to throw that out there.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm positive, and that's
this one's a fact. This is a fact.
Yes, it's not an opinion this time. And yeah, Chiyu is basically Victini's brother. Like those two guys are just going crazy.
Yep.
yeah, for sure. All right, we are making our way into the top 3. Kicking things off with Smat, coach of the Modena Septiles. Bash, it's all you, buddy. It's all you. Now's your time to shine, Bash.
Oh man, thank you. Put me in the spotlight, man, bro. Let's go. We got Spot with the Urshifu single, Terra Poison, right? And then we got Cinderace, and then Latios, and then Aegislash, then Megavino, and then we got Venusaur, Primarina, Xurkitree, Gligar, Terra Frostmoth, and Porygon. With of course Frostos being free Terra, right? So Swan's had a pretty good season. Only loss was to A12, so who's also like pretty high up in the rankings, right? So it's not like it's been going pretty well for the season. I'm gonna say this, like he's been playing like terrifyingly. Like he's like his team has been terrifying to play to see play, right? He's been playing really well, and like he has so many threats on his team, and I think he's only brought Frostmoth once, which is like so terrifying to me. That he's only brought Frostmoth once and he's still doing really well. He's like hiding in the back, bro. He's like hiding in the back and he's gonna wait for it to spring on everybody in playoffs probably or something like that. But yeah, that thing is a menace, and he still hasn't brought it once. It's crazy. But yeah, he's doing really well. Currently he's 4-1. Putting in a lot of work. I think he's done really well with like a lot of his sets. I think he swept the 1 week, right, with Prima. Calm Prima was really good. I think he's actually been using the bond that he sniped Sketch on Porygon pretty well too, with his pivoting as well. But yeah, he's just this team is so annoying to prep for and to deal with. So especially since Urshifu single makes it like the whole 50-50s, right, with the Urshifu poison is so difficult to also play around. So now it can easily deal with fairies now, better than before. So it's so hard to revenge it or check it in general. Now they also get Swords Dance. He's been playing with that really well as well. So yeah, I also it's kind of been interesting. Also, he's been shifting away from defensive Gligar a little bit, but. Very interesting kind of thing, but it's been working, I guess. So yeah, keep doing it, and I guess please show us Frostmouth like soon, like
probably not against me. That'd be nice.
Yeah. So
I believe of the 3 of us, I'm the only one that's faced him so far this season. Is that right?
Yep. and I do not have to face them this season.
You're lucky, because it's not fun, I can tell you that much. Urshifu, it was already like ridiculous to deal with that mon, but now that it can just turn into a poison type, it's just like, how do you even really prepare for that? Like, there's not a whole lot you can do about it. And one of the worst feelings for me personally is going into a match knowing that you don't have a reliable answer to something. And I feel like that's just one of those mons that like you're just gonna have to accept that you don't have it. Like, you don't have the reliable switch into it. So your answer is gonna have to be like try and out offense it or something like that. So it's like, I really doubt that you have the right switch in. There's like very few and far between. And like what's crazy is like, I prepped for this team and I was like, okay, yeah, I gotta make sure I can switch in on like a banded wicked blow. And then like I did a mock for it and like I had my switch into banded wicked blow and it just went for swords dance in the mock. And I'm like, yeah, well, this is no longer a switch in because it just gets that now. And it's just a really good team. I don't think I have a ton to say about it, but like he's using it really well. Primarina is like top 6 right now. It's like number 6 in the kill leaders. You would think that maybe like Urshifu or Cinderace might be up there instead, but I think that goes to show that he's using his entire team really effectively. I think he's prepping really creatively. I mean, against me, like Bash said, he brought like a more offensive Gligar. He brought Choice Scarf Gligar, which I think is creative prep. And then in that same game, he brought like physically defensive Cinderace. So I think that Smat's really good at prepping creatively and subverting your expectations. And yeah, he's just got a really crazy team. And he's doing well with it, you know. 4-1 is a fantastic start, and like Bash said, having that one loss beat as somebody who is like also like rated so highly, there's like no shame in that at all. So yeah, really strong start for sure.
Big facts. This is probably in my top 3 teams as far as a lot of mons I just hate facing. Like, I've never like faced a Mega Venusaur or Aegislash. I just find those mons really annoying to go against just because they're, well, for one, Mega Venusaur, like, I feel like it's just really stupid. Like, if you don't bring something to break that thing, then like you're gonna find out how fat it really is. And then Aegislash is just...
Whoa, are you fat shaming, bro? What the hell?
I am.
Whoa, man, canceled.
It's crazy, dude. Smat, like, maybe put your team on a diet. That's all I gotta say.
What? Oh my god.
Honestly. No, but Urshifu sketches, right? Like, I can see that thing went #1 overall pick. Like, it's probably like, it may honestly be the #1 mon that you just might not have a switch into, or might not have an answer to, because it has priority to, you know, deal with the faster mons. It's got the Terra, so it makes sure Terra plus like Swords Dance, so you can't have a defensive check. It's not fun to face at all. And like, these guys have pretty much said everything that there is to say about this team. Matt has probably been one of the most creative coaches this season too, which has been really cool to see. He's had a lot of, from my understanding, I think he's had a lot of pretty close games, but he's also played a lot of pretty decent coaches so far, so it's not surprising there. And yeah, I think Smat will make a really solid run at in playoffs, because I think Smat will definitely make playoffs, and I think he'll get a pretty high seed as well, just based off of how his performance has gone so far. And I'm interested to see if Primarina can hold the spot in the top 10, because that'd be a pretty cool mon to see up there, to be honest with you.
Yeah, agreed.
That's what I got.
In second place, we have newcomer Shonsters, coach of the Galactic Greninjas. And this is the other coach I was saying, like when you talked about A12, where it's like ranked low in post-draft PRs, but we tell them like, hey, don't take it personally, just prove us wrong. And Shonsters, you did exactly that. I was not a giant fan of this team at first. Like, I didn't hate it or anything, but it felt like maybe there was something missing. But like, you have used this team so like unbelievably efficiently that like I'm a believer, you know. Like, there's nothing else that needs to be proven to me about this team at this point. I think something that's like really interesting is like Landorus has been on the bench a couple weeks, if I'm not mistaken. Like, I don't think that, and we definitely haven't seen like it Terra into a water type very often. Like more often than not, you're making really effective use of that Terra Aggron, which I think is like a really what am I trying to say? I feel like really good coaches are able to make the most out of even their low tier mons, and I think that's definitely proven to be the case with that Aggron so far. It's just a really disgusting bull core you got going on with Mega Mawile to come in and pick off kills after you've put people through the ringer of a really toxic stall fest. Mega Mawile just comes in and cleans up. That thing is currently the second kill leader. You're currently in second place. You have the highest differential. Your team is just disgusting. I didn't think it was going to be that crazy at first, but just the more I look at it, the more I see that it was designed really intelligently with cores that are just difficult to get through. And then, yeah, there's just that classic Doug trio to get on the field and just remove whatever like the key ingredient that people brought to get through this team. It's a very, very solid it's a very solid team. I didn't think so at first, but like you've definitely proven that. I think much like A12's team, even if it's like maybe a little bit unorthodox, that it's paying off really well. And while I don't think that we've historically seen more stall-based teams do really well in Krash, this is probably like one of the best stall teams that I've seen play out in this league's history. So big kudos to you for that.
Like when I look at this team, man, like, and you look at like the roles, like, you know, you got Landorus Wallbreaker, Mega Mawile Wallbreaker, and then you look at things like Dondozo, Amoonguss, Screamtail. You like know what their roles are gonna be, but sometimes like coaches can't really pan out and use those mons very well. This man has used every single mon on his team, I feel like, in what you would expect them to do, and he like brings out the like best potential in each mon. Like, I'm very impressed with Screamtail so far. Like, he's made me want to draft that thing just because, like, I've seen certain weeks where he's brought in like no attack Screamtail and it's not passive whatsoever. Like, he'll run like Encore, Wish, like not even Protect, Encore, Wish, and then like two other screens or Trick Room or some shit. And he's like finding really good utility out of it. Amoonguss plus Dondozo, like, you may think there's ways to break that core, but like he's literally using it in such an efficient way that he brings it on the field. I'm like, oh yeah, he's just gonna wall that. And then I know we give him a hard time on his removal being not the best, a little lackadaisical, but Rotom Heat has done just a fine job of that in general. And also, I want to just point out that Mega Mawile, like, I feel like a lot of people give it a lot of players in specific, like, I'm not calling anybody out, but I think a lot of like not as experienced players just assume Mega Mawile is not very good because it's slow and maybe gets picked off easily by certain things. But he's utilized it so well in the fashion that, like, you know, you can actually get kills with it in Trick Room. He's done that. You can get kills with its priority. He's done that. You can trade one for one with that mon with like a ton of different mons, and he's done that. And that's why it's number 2 on the kill leaderboard. And like you were saying with the Aggron, like, the fact that he's using a 3-point Terra Aggron as well as he has defensively and offensively is super impressive. And most of his wins have been freaking blowouts. That's why his differential is so high. And it's just really fun to watch his games. I think he's a very like methodical coach with his prep and just play in general. And you can kind of tell what the game is going to be over within like 10 turns of the battle, to be honest, which is pretty ridiculous. I don't want to say too much else because I want to, let Bash talk about it. But like, I was really excited to talk about this team just because like he's made his matches fun to watch, even though some of them are painful to watch just because how long they are. But Chaucer's a really fun coach to watch with this team just overall.
Yeah. Well, let's hear the thing, right? So, this man has Dondozo, Amoonguss, and Screamtail. That walls like a majority of the game, to be honest. Like, that defensive core right there is able to deal with like most of the entire core. Like, even if you do setup, right? Dondozo, unaware. Screamtail literally can encore you into the setup, which is like so annoying. It's so fast, it makes it so much more difficult. But on top of that, this man pulls out setup Screamtail and sweeps with it too. So you have to prep for that as well. There's also the Mega Mawile, the Lando, which he hasn't even been bringing, which is like already terrifying enough. With the fact that also now it gets Nasty Plot too. It's just so difficult. And honestly, I'm gonna be honest, like, I think Screamtail is one of the better Trick Room setters. in draft now, and the fact that he has trick room with it into momentum into Mega Mawile is why he's been so successful with it. With Mega Mawile, I think is part of the reason. Also, because his team is disgusting. But and also, do you mind can you stop getting kills with Mega Mawile, please? I want to keep my card in first place, but the kill leader. But yeah, his team is disgusting. He hasn't even brought like some of his terrifying threats. I feel like I haven't really even seen Kyurem yet, like much at all, like to be honest. And that thing is terrifying of its own. Like it's difficult to switch in as well. Like that is like surprising to me. And the way he's using Aggron has been absolutely amazing too. Using it as like sometimes a defensive check, sometimes as a defensive check, sometimes as an absolute breaker. Because now he's got Rockhead Head Smash. like Rockhead Head Smash Terra Rock, right? With that, breaking through teams, but also could be like really defensive mon too. So this team's been really good this season. Very toxic to play against, I would say, because it's just so bulky, but also so much breaking power. Chaucer's really proved the PO's wrong, and yeah, this team is just terrifying. And unfortunately, I have to play it. So, yep.
Good luck. A couple things to add. Like Crypto mentioned that his wins have just been like blowout wins, and it's like it really just feels like he's just embarrassing his opponents because he had the 1-0 loss. That's not going to make a big dent in differential, of course. And then aside from that game, he just had like 2 5-0s and 2 6-0s. Like in the games that he's won, he's only lost 2 mons, and like I don't know. It's just like he has an answer for every situation he ends up in, and like he's using this team so like unorthodoxly, as you have pointed out. I'm looking. Landorus has been to 2 games, which is like unheard of. I feel like every time I've seen somebody use Landorus, it only misses like maybe 1 game all season, and it's already missed 3 in the first half. And then, you said that you haven't been seeing Kyurem do much, and that's because it's only been to 1 game, and it didn't get like a kill or a death in that game. And now here's the interesting thing, right? Like I mentioned, Mega Mawile is his kill leader. Second place is a 3-way tie between Doug Trio, Screamtail, and Aggron. All 3 of them are 5-1, and it's just like that's just such a weird like distribution of kills. I feel like Landorus has 1 kill all season. Screamtail has 5 times as many kills as Landorus. My brain is just doing backflips trying to compute how this team is being used. It's crazy, but great season so far, Seansters, honestly.
Yes. Keep proving us wrong, please.
Yeah. So with that, I guess we can go ahead and wrap up PRs. I think that we're good to end here.
Yeah, we got everybody. We don't need to talk about anything else. I think we go on to we're done.
Yeah, no. I guess with what we just said about Seansters, you might be wondering how could anybody top that, and only one person has done that. That being Crypto, coach of the Amityville Ampharos, who I previously had at first place in the post-draft PRs, and Crypto was like, "Oh, I don't know. I don't think I should be in first." And yeah, bullshit. We all knew it would end up like this, Crypto, and you draft the core of Mega Scizor, Tapu Fini, and Latias, and then just have a Regieleki be the cherry on top. And then, I guess I'll go ahead and read the rest of your team while I'm at it. There's the Incineroar, the freaking Clodsire that never dies, Mienshao, Aerodactyl, Miltank, Cacturn. For a little while, Clodsire was in like the top 10 kill leaders. Undefeated so far. Yeah, that's why I said for a while. I just said for a while. Come on. Yeah, I mean, it's an undefeated team, and really, I think it's just as simple as, like, until you take that first loss, I see no reason for you not to be at the top of the power rankings. Granted, if I had those 4 EVs in speed, maybe this would be a different story, but no, I feel like you just had a lot of, like, creative responses. I think Bash DM'd me on the side and said that he was worried about how you stack up against A12's team, because A12 has like a lot of responses to your team, and despite that, I feel like you're able to like power through a really difficult matchup. Yeah, I just feel like you're getting really good use out of a really strong team, and I just don't really know what is able to shut down what you have going right now. Like just your Fairy Dragon Steel Core alone is enough to like take on entire teams, I feel like. And like adding in like Terra Miltank to the equation, giving you like a really solid like bulk user cleric that can like I don't know, I feel like your team is kind of based around slowly whittling things down until they're in range to die to Regieleki and then cleaning up with it. And it's a really good approach. It's obviously working for you. So yeah, Bash, what are your thoughts here?
You know what Mon beats Crypto's team?
Me with enough speed EVs.
No, I was gonna say, but the only Pokemon to kill Clodsire in the Boston. Yo, really put. Yeah, Crypto's team is so toxic, bro. This man literally drafted Stall with Tapu Fini, Latias, Incineroar, Clodsire, and then now Terra Miltank, bro. Just stop, bro. Just all the Stall, bro. It's disgusting. You need to chill. But yeah, his team is crazy good. There's a reason why he's up top. He's at first. And it's not only because he sped tide sketch. It's also because he won a lot of games this season, and he has a really good team. So yeah, there's not much to really say. This team is just terrifying, and I never want to face it again. So yeah, this team's toxic, and for future games, Crypto, please refrain from critting, if you can. Only that one time. But yeah. So Crypto's team's toxic. Yeah.
I feel bad that I don't have more to say, but it's just one of those things where, like, from the start, I knew that this was going to be the best team, and I'm not surprised that, halfway through the season, it's at number 1. Really, really solid team. You're using it really well. And of course, Tapu Fini, I think, is one of those mons that you've used so many times that you're really comfortable with. And it is your kill leader, which does not surprise me at all. I don't know if you have any thoughts that you'd like to share about your own team, Crypto, but you can bring us home since this is the last team that we're talking about.
Yeah, no. So like in past like Krash PRs and stuff, I've never really had like a very highly ranked team like post draft, just because like I usually draft pretty whack teams, kind of similar to A12 in a way. So, but usually I'm like mid pack to like a little bit lower spectrum. But now I would say like after drafting this team, like I can see like going into every match, like it feels a little unfair sometimes with some of the matchups. I'm not even gonna lie. Like Regieleki is ridiculous. Like this, like I guess there's breaking the fourth wall again. I just had a game with it where like you didn't even have to do a whole like most game sketches right. Like you kind of have to whittle and then Regieleki like let it do his thing. But this past game, like it literally had the perfect coverage and the perfect physical special attacking moves to just run through a team on its own right. And then you have like the really good staple core behind it of the Fairy Dragon Steel, and really solid pivots and good offense and defense in the end. I haven't brought Cacturn to a game yet, which I definitely want to try to do before the season's over, just because he's kind of the lone man down there. Everybody else is pulling their weight, but we got to see what Cacturn can do. But yeah, it's been a good fun team so far, and I'm definitely excited to keep using it. And Bash is not going to have that Zygarde up in first for long because Tapu Fini's coming. I'm just going to throw that out there again.
Oh, nah.
It's coming, bro. Just wait.
And Sneasler and Excalibur.
Yep. We're all three going to pass at the very end. Our opponent, we're going to talk to him beforehand.
I don't know, bro. I don't know. Tapu Fini is not even the top 5, bro. I don't even know. I don't know.
Just wait.
And I'm just saying, I'm like Nostradamus out here predicting things, man, because I said Crypto's going to be number 1. I said Zygarde is the sleeper threat of the season. Here we are. Like, how do I do it? How do I do it? I said all of our balls would be stiff, and they were. Yeah. One thing I did not predict correctly is that I said that I thought that these PRs would be pretty short. And here we are over 2 hours into them. So I think we're good to start wrapping things up here. All of our lists should be on the screen here. You can see how you did on each of our individual lists. I think it'll be pretty close for most of us to the standings, with a couple of exceptions.
Again, I want to reference the fact that if you have a problem with the rankings, please make sure to DM Splurge or at Splurge, because he will be the ones answering all the questions about any of the PRs, about how any of the issues with the PRs. Just make sure, add them as many times as you need to. But yeah, make sure. Yeah.
And I just want to say one more note. I actually met Bash in real life over the weekend. I did give him a noogie, and it turns out
That's false.
does not get mad. He actually laughs at it.
That's false.
Oh, really?
Kind of
That's
weird.
false. That is simply false.
Dude,
that is simply false.
He even got a bone shirt, which I was like, "Hey,
yo,
yo,
hey, yo, hey, yo, whoa.
That is.
I was like, put that
false.
Terra Captain away, sir. And I was like, yo.
That was simply false. Yo, what?
Yeah. Anything else you guys want to add before we close out the video, I guess?
I did pee during Smatt's portion, but I don't think my mic was close enough to the toilet.
Thank God. Thank God. All right. Thank you for watching. We are hopefully going to do a playoffs power rankings at the end of the season, so I hope that you guys will tune in for that. And sub to the channel if you haven't already. If you got this far in the video, clearly you're interested in what we have to say, so hit that sub button. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Nope.
Peace.
Peace.